go ahead and install this unit here. And as we look at it, it's very, very faint, but you can see that the post does bend forward on this. It's kind of hard to see, it's real faint, but we do need to keep note, and we want that to face the back of our unit. This is going to slide into this last hole that we have on our side chassis, and then it's also going to slide down over this little nub here, so there's two connections for that. Go ahead and snap them in, put the screws in, and we'll give you a close-up. I'm amazed on how tight a lot of the stuff fits in there. There's some good engineering going on here. I'm going to put that on, and then our last remaining screw is going to go onto the bottom, and we'll tighten that up. As I'm putting this together and I'm seeing how tight some of these spots are, I may have regretted not putting in my electronics earlier. One thing to also note is that there's a little cutout in here, and that goes around the antenna tube area. Okay, so that's what it's looking like so far. We've put on those 1, 2, 3, 4 braces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and get out our parts for step number 35. And it looks like we're going to put on a roof brace. Alright, step number 35. Go ahead and get out our roof brace, and it's going to fit, these 3 nubs are going to fit into these 3 holes. This is the front here, the part with the 3 tines on it rather than just the 2, the 3, and that points forward. Let's go ahead and get this in, make some quick work out of it. Alright, one. Screw it in just till it touches. Swivel it around. Go ahead and get the other 2 in. This is step 35. We are really starting to get quite a beast going here. Looking more and more like a crawler with every part that we put on. Alright, so now we have these 3 parts put on. Let's go ahead and get all of our pieces and parts, and we're going to move on to step number 36. And this is what it looks like. Step number 36, the fun part. We are at this point going to match the 2 cage halves together and screw everything in. There are 2 things to watch out for, and the first one is that this unit here we need to sandwich in just like we did on the other side, but it's going to go on now with this portion of the build. The second one is that there is one shorter screw that we need to use, and that one goes into this location right here. Not the top rail, but the second rail down, and it is this unit right here. So keep an eye on that. I'm not going to put you through the torture of watching me do this on film, so we're going to do it off, and then when we're done, we'll meet you at the end and we'll compare, make sure ours looks the same as yours. Alright, I'm all done. That was pretty easy. The only suggestions that I can offer, and what I did was just started at the back and worked my way all the way forward, putting in the screws. I did count the number of screws and laid them out, and when I was all done, I found that I still had 1 screw left, and it's a good thing I did count them out because I forgot to put one in. I did have to do a little bit of nip and tuck with my Lexan scissors. I was just a little bit off the lines on trimming the Lexan for the bottom of the cab area, but just a few snips and it fell right into place. Also needed to remember to put that second unit on the front. So that's what we have now. We have a very solid, extremely solid cage. This is coming together very, very nicely. So there we go. Time to move on to the next step. I'm getting really excited to get this thing up and going. Moving on to step 37. I've pre-built the lights, seeing as how we did that earlier. They're a little bit different, but just follow the directions and there's really nothing to them. We have a set of 2 larger lights, which are going to go onto this bumper unit. We'll set those aside, and we have 2 smaller lights, which are going to go onto this bumper unit. Those are right here. So let's go ahead and get these installed. You will be dealing with 2 different screw sizes. The shorter ones are going to go into the smaller lights, and the longer ones are going to go into the larger. So let's go ahead and hold this unit just like so. And the lights are going to mount on this up from underneath. There's a little locator pin on the light. You can see it against my finger there. And you can see the little locator pin area right here. So let's go ahead and put these on. Make sure the lights are facing in the proper direction. And we're going to use the shorter screws on these since they're the smaller lights. Here's one. Get the second one on here. Kind of hard to hold this stuff for the camera. I complain about that a lot, don't I? There we go. Got to find the locator. There we go. And that one cinches right up. There we are. That's how it looks when we're done. Now we're going to go ahead and mount the 2 larger ones onto the other bumper piece. As we hold the second bumper piece, we're going to hold it like this with the 2 light mounting holes on the bottom and the curvature going towards the back. And that's how these lights will go on. Again, find the locator hole. And the screw hole. Pretty simple stuff. There's one. And the second one. Make sure the pin is lining up in the locator hole. And screw it in. Came out. There we go. That one just keeps wanting to turn. Okay. There we go. We got it in now. And our little lens cover came off. So we'll put it back on. It snaps on like so. That's what it looks like. Alright, so let's move on to step number 38. We're going to get our screws out, and we'll attach these two bumpers. Alright, let's rotate our chassis just like you see it in the photograph here. We're going to put on the longer unit first, and these little nubs on the ends are going to line up with the nubs on the very top brace. And then there's also two other little nubs here that our screws are going to go into. Pull that out and just snap it in. And we're going to put in two of our screws. Now we are working with two different screw lengths, and the shorter screws are going to go into this first part. And there's just two of them that hold that on. And now we're going to put on the big brush guard here, and that one takes 4 screws, and those are going to mount up to these two and these two. And they just go on like so. We'll use the 4 screws to hold those in. We are starting to get close here. Really close. Get that to cinch down. Alright, well, we're finishing up putting these 4 screws in. Why don't you go ahead and get all your pieces and parts together, and we'll get started on step number 39. Now, I believe, if I look under my directions, yes, we are going to attach the chassis to the drivetrain. Now, after we do that, we're going to really see what this thing's all about. Alright, so we have these 4 screws in. This is what it looks like. Now let's get ready to put this thing together.